And we are live from Lou Air Student Radio, and boy, it has been a long time.
I would say so. How was your break?
It was absolutely horrible, but thank you.
I wouldn't say mine was horrible, but mine was like, yeah.
Before we get things started, I'd like to just say it's nice to be back in the studio after a month, and it's nice to be back with my partner, Coleman Fleetwood.
And it's nice to be back with you, my great buddy Charles.
That was horrible. So,
guys, I've put up with it. No, I'm kidding.
Yes, he really has. So, I bet you wondered what has happened since, we've been in the studio. And my God, December was horrible for my mental health as a Seahawks fan. And
dear God, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about that. So, first things first, as we mentioned before, all the way along back, before we left for our hiatus for the holidays, me and Coleman went to the Packers game, which we posted about on the Nest, and that was the worst stadium experience I have ever been to.
We were one of four Seahawks fans in that
There were
section.
So many Packer fans. It felt like an away game. That's a common sentiment I've heard throughout, other people. It did not feel like a Seahawk game, and that's just ridiculous. A month later, it's ridiculous that we had "Go Pack Go" echoing throughout the stadium and not "Go Hawks" and "Screw you Packers."
It was so loud. If you were watching the Sunday Night Football broadcast, you could hear it on the TV. It was that loud.
It's just so disappointing because I remember as a kid, it just used to be so much better. Seattle used to be one hell of a place to play, and it's really not.
Yeah, now it's Kansas City is the number one.
Kansas City's the number one place. I'd say even Detroit's better than us
Detroit
now.
At this point might be better.
Yeah, and it's I would like to read a couple numbers real quick, but before we start that, I want to just review some of the records we've had in the past few years as Seahawks fans. And let me pull that up real quick. Sorry. Okay. So, we come off the Super Bowl loss. We went 12-4. It's fine. Everything's okay. Then the next year, 10-6. Again, we lose again. We lose in the divisional round after a stupid playoff victory, which I don't even remember who we beat. Oh, yeah, it was the 10-9 game with the Vikings and Blair Walsh.
Oh, my God.
That
game made me embarrassed to be a Seahawks fan.
The Seahawks team was a good team. We weren't grand. We went 10-6. But you know what? There was one thing that led to our downfall. We lost to the Panthers, and we'll get into what caused the downfall later. And the Panthers had, I believe, a few sacks on Russell Wilson and a lot of pressures.
Yeah.
Next, we'll get into 2016. The Seahawks go 10-5-1. We win the division. We beat the Lions in the wildcard round, and we get smoked in the divisional round by the Falcons. Again, defense was starting to become a problem, but it wasn't bad. Russell Wilson sacked quite a bit. He had to make a lot of magic. There was a lot of pressure on him. Okay.
Hey, should we remind Falcons fans what happened that year?
28-3. 2017, not a great year at all. 9-7. Russ was the most sacked quarterback in the league by double digits, and there were a lot of pressures. Then we go to 10-6, losing the wildcard round. Finally, we have a great season. We look like bona fide contenders. We are 11-2. We finished the season 11-5, and we win the wild card round against the Eagles 17-9. Should have smoked them by more. And then we blow a big lead against the Packers. In the divisional round.
Can I say it? Actually, I can't say that on air. You guys know what I'm trying to say. I can't say it on air.
This was 2019, and another big problem. Russell Wilson was running for his life, and there was a lot of pressure from that Packers defensive line. We get to 2020. We win the division. Russell Wilson is cooking everyone's ass. What happened in the wildcard round? We get beat 30-20, and Aaron Donald got 5 sacks, I believe. Don't quote me on that because that's probably wrong. But I
wouldn't be shocked if it was more.
Aaron Donald got multiple sacks, multiple pressures.
The game was in Seattle too.
And I think I've made my point. You go through these multiple seasons, you see there's one apparent problem. Even back when we won the Super Bowl, that offensive line was not okay. It has not been okay for a long time. And I know
It
a
will
lot
never
of
be
people would
okay.
expect me, if they've listened to this show since last fall, to be screaming at John Schneider right now, screaming about our offensive line. But you see, I'm a very peaceful person right now. Okay? I understand.
If you guys could see the look I'm giving him, you could tell
I understand there are other positions that are way more important in this league. There are other positions, such as the quarterback position, which, again, I understand. But you go back to 2021 or 22 draft. We do get Charles Cross. Rare thing. He ain't been the best, and I feel like that Charles Cross draft pick has led us to this point.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that because you spend a top 10 draft pick on a guy who has allowed the second highest total sack percentages, I think, in 2022, and then goes okay, but is constantly injured in 2023, to a 2024 season where he's just been mediocre a little bit.
He retired. He didn't play this season.
Charles Cross.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, you're right.
What?
For some reason, I thought you were talking about Aaron Donald. I don't know where that...
Had me very confused for a minute.
No, you're right. Continue.
So, you go from that high of a draft pick and that big of an asset, and then you go to where you are now.
Yeah.
You don't draft offensive linemen. Not to say that, Devon Witherspoon was a mistake or JSN was a mistake. Clearly, those two have been the heart and soul of our defenses and offense. Especially the defense. Look at Devon Witherspoon and JSN, especially on offense, actually. Not on
JSN had a good year this year, man.
Like, you look at these teams like the Detroit Lions, who they allow a 37.1% pressure rate and a 5.2% sack rate. And then you look at a team like the Seahawks, 34.4% pressure rate, 8.57% sack rate.
Oh.
That is 30th in the league compared to the Lions, 7 or 6.
Well, I don't know where my numbers are a little bit different. I got mine from Pro Football Network.
Reading the numbers off the paper.
Oh, well, you read them wrong. It's 39.4 and 8.
Oh, 39.4. My bad.
And it's 8.3% sack rate.
8.3. Hear that? 8.3.
Yeah, 8.3, which means that for anyone non-familiar with the sport of football, it means that on 8% of possessions, the quarterback lost yardage, essentially.
That is the 30th O-line in the league.
I believe it was there were only 2 teams worse than us. One was the Texans, and I didn't scroll down far enough to see what the last one was.
I want everyone to... There was an image going viral across Seahawks Twitter last night. And it was after the Eagles and Packers wildcard game.
Oh my gosh.
You could see one offensive lineman blocking one guy by himself, the other doing the same thing, and another doing the same thing. And Hurts has 30 seconds in the pocket. That's a lifetime.
That is a lifetime.
And everybody was adding Schneider, wanting this. And the big trend about this Eagles team. That team puts up great passing numbers, puts up great running numbers. Look at Saquon Barkley this year behind that offensive line. There is a reason teams with offensive linemen who focus on them are consistently found in big games. Now, a Detroit Lions, it's their first year or second year really being legit, but you see they spent a 12th overall pick on Penei Sewell, and he's their arguable best lineman aside from right now.
Taylor Decker's a pretty good one.
Taylor Decker's pretty fucking good, regardless of the point. It needs to be said that a quarterback is not going to solve our issues this upcoming season. Arguably, if we draft another quarterback and get rid of Geno this offseason, it's going to be really bad next season. Mm-hmm. Because you look at it, when you can take the sample size of Sam Howell going in. You see him in there, he can't even get a fucking pass off. It's enough to make me realize, at one point, I wanted a quarterback. I don't think quarterback is our biggest concern in this upcoming draft. And a lot of Seahawks fans, if they listen to this, might be typing like, oh, but that is the problem. Geno Smith is not the problem. The problem is the offensive line. The offensive line has been a problem since 2011. I want to say since we hired Schneider, it's been a problem since we lost Tupu. It's been a real big problem. And a team cannot win championships without a championship caliber offensive line. There are some one-offs, like the 2021 Bengals. There are some one-offs. Even though they didn't win the Super Bowl, it cost them.
They got pretty close.
It cost them in the end. Aaron Donald bulldozed that offensive line and got right to Joe Burrow. That stuff costs you big games, and those big games will come back to haunt you in the playoffs or haunt you in the playoffs when you get sacked because Aaron Donald goes through your offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
And to make those comments that guards are overdrafted, overrated, overpaid, it shows a lot of ignorance in how football teams work and operate. And sure, I'm somebody who's just a fan, doesn't really know the intricacies of how to run an NFL team, but I can certainly recognize the importance of an offensive line and something that's been ignored. That Bengals team was prevented from winning a Super Bowl because of the offensive line. No matter how good of a quarterback you got, he cannot do anything if he's constantly getting hurt. 2020 Joe Burrow is another example. The dude died behind the offensive line. And sure, it might have been for the greater good. They got Jamar Chase. It's still a problem. The difference between the Seahawks and the Bengals is the Bengals have tried to do something about it. They've tried multiple times. They've had 3 different O-line personnel in the past 3 seasons, while the Seahawks have relatively had the same O-line for the past 5 years.
Maybe even longer than that.
Maybe longer than that. There is a big difference when it comes to teams actively trying to change things. I want to read the Eagles' stats on offensive line if my point is still not drawn for you Seahawk fans. 40.6% pressure rate, 9.1% sack rate for the Eagles.
So that actually sounds, by those percentages, that offensive line actually sounds worse. However, they're ranked 12th because of the average time it takes Jalen Hurts to end up throwing the ball, which is an astounding 3.8 seconds.
That's why it's still good. It's still better than ours.
It's still better than our offensive
If you were to line up Hurts and Geno making the same time throw, Hurts is going to be able to get that ball out a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Especially because of how bad Geno has that offensive line. I believe every time I watched that game against the Packers, Geno sat there in the pocket for a couple seconds and immediately someone was in his face.
Exactly.
Howell got slammed down every single time he was out there. It's not okay. And there's a video, if you go to that Packers game, the Seahawks game, 2 of our linemen are guarding each other instead of...
And then there was one that was just standing there just...
where is everyone? Where am I?
Oh, wait, I'm playing football right now.
It's not okay. It is not okay. What has been going on in the building has not been all right. And until things change, we cannot realistically win a championship until things change. And I don't want to hear anything about past Super Bowl champions. This is way different.
This is current.
In an era where passing is everything in a league, you cannot succeed passing-wise until you get an O-line to protect your passer.
Again, just ask the Bengals.
Literally.
They have one of the hottest they have the strongest, arguably the strongest passing offense in the league because of that now strong O-line that they have behind them.
And if you want to argue that running is the future of the NFL, that even more furthers my case. Look at Saquon Barkley. Look at Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry just killed a man last night. Or the other night.
The other night.
It furthers my point, and I think I'm going to end the rant there. An O-line is needed to win championships, and without an O-line, you are not winning a championship in the near future.
I want to throw in just one more stat before we go off the topic of the Seahawks O-line, is that I don't remember the exact numbers, but I saw this. I probably should have gotten it written down. I saw this on the Seahawks Reddit that said 95% of 95% of yards gained by their running backs were after contact in Seattle. Which is atrocious.
Oh. My point stands as that. You can draft a quarterback like Shadur Sanders. You can draft a quarterback like Arch Manning. You can draft anybody in this league. If we had Mahomes or Lamar Jackson on this team,
they would die.
We're still not winning. If anything, Lamar Jackson's going to get hurt. Mahomes would get hurt. We wouldn't win if we had an elite tier quarterback. Geno hasn't been perfect. Arguably, Mahomes sucks more than him this year.
Geno had, stat-wise, his best season yet in Seattle this year.
If Snyder, and here's something that does give me hope. The Seahawks are interviewing the Lions offensive line coach for their offensive coordinator position.
Yes.
it gives me some serious hope if we sign him. Because at that point, you got someone that, oh shoot, my kid's falling off. It gives me hope for someone that knows what they're doing, has been a part of a championship team, and knows how to actually protect the football, or protect the football in the quarterback's hands. So that gives me a little bit of hope.
I'm just hoping that we wait until potentially after the Lions win the Super Bowl, because if he leaves mid playoff route, then that'd just be a shitty thing to do.
Well, you see what the Bears are doing. They're interviewing everybody.
Dude, Mike, who was the Cowboys head coach? Mike McCarthy.
I was going to bring that up.
Yeah, he just lost
Speaking of
his
head
job
coach, Mike McCarthy have, quote, parted ways mutually in Dallas.
I don't think it was mutual.
And so now you add a long list of teams that need head coaches. You got the Bears, the Raiders, the Jaguars, and all these other teams. The Patriots just hired Mike Vrabel. They took probably the second best option off the board. If I'm the Cowboys, I'm going for Ben Johnson. Can you imagine Dak Prescott and Ben Johnson? Also, the Cowboys have inquired about Tyreek Hill. Imagine Tyreek Hill in a Ben Johnson offense. I'm very happy thinking about it.
I think personally, Tyreek Hill should retire and go take care of his 15 kids. But
and go be a firefighter.
Maybe he should. He's got one kid with his actual current wife, and then about 14 others with other women. So
speaking about firefighting, I'd like to just take a moment and say we are at the Nest here praying for everybody that's going in LA right now. A lot of tragedy, a lot of burning stuff on fire, and our hearts are with the people there in LA, and hopefully they can get that stuff figured out. It's a real shame that stuff has happened, and it gives a real big perspective on stuff that's greater than football and sports.
We've got some firefighters from Western Washington where we're at, and they've made their way down there. They're helping with the fires. God bless them. Hopefully they all come back okay. Those fires get extinguished soon. Last I checked, they were starting to get contained, so that's a good
thing. I just kind of wanted to put that out there, that we stand with the people in LA, and we're trying to pray for them and keep them in our minds.
Yep.
Now, speaking of LA burning down, let's talk about the Chargers.
Oh my God, that was such a terrible segue. Why?
I apologize. So let's go talk about the Texans. Arguably, they destroyed the Chargers 32-12.
That game was drunk.
That
was.
I was at work. I didn't watch a lot of it, but I watched the ending, and that was
I watched the second half, and that was. The game itself already very drunk, and then blocked extra point gets returned the other way for 2. I was like, what the hell is happening?
It is. I can't defend Justin Herbert anymore. I really can't. I mean, it's like what everyone's been saying. He is the MVP of what-if scenarios, but the dude can't throw 4 picks like that. And arguably, 2 of them were not his fault. The other
Not
2
entirely.
were. It's As an Oregon fan, it is hard to watch. Everything's hard to watch nowadays as an Oregon fan, but that was painful to watch as a Duck fan. I really hope the Chargers figure it out, man. It was a great first season, but Herbert, please don't turn into Sam Darnold. That's all I gotta say. Now, as for the Texans, they look like a serious threat.
What? Okay. I don't know what happened during that game. This year, like this entire regular season, they didn't look that good.
They didn't. Well, they did in the first half, but then it just kind of collapsed after the Lions.
Well, they lost to the Jets, and then everything was like, yeah.
Aaron Rodgers just shit on your team.
Yeah.
It's
They didn't look that good this year, and then all of a sudden you hit to the playoffs, something snaps.
It's crazy. The Texans look like a completely different football team than they did against the Titans team. A completely different football team, and it's almost remarkable to think about. I could seriously see them upsetting Kansas City. And a lot of people are going to call me crazy for that, but I could really see Stroud going to the AFC title game.
If they play like they did against the Chargers, absolutely.
If they play like they did in the second half.
That's the key word.
If the Texans come out in the first half and they only put up 6 points,
They are not going to
they
win
are
that
not
game.
going to win that game. And let me tell you why. You are going from a Chargers defense that was number 1 to a battle-tested, experienced defense that knows how you tick. Because they've played you. Didn't they play the Texans?
They played them earlier
They played
this
the
year.
Texans. They know how you play. And we look at that game, you see the outcome. They know how to stop you. They know what your weaknesses are. They know what your strengths are. They're going to do everything they can to take you down. So, the question is, what the hell does DeMeco Ryans have in mind? How are you going to stop playoff Mahomes, playoff Kelsey and Swift, and stop that defense?
Simple answer. Pray.
And if they do win, I think it's going to come to some.
It's going to come down
I
to
don't even know if they can win, man. The amount of witchery shit I've seen come out of Kansas City is not okay.
It's going to come down to some bullshit free kick or something
And
like
they
that.
block the kick, and Mahomes takes it from the sideline and scores. And the ref is kissing him.
Okay.
It's
I don't think we can rule out the possibility of Kansas City going to the Super Bowl again.
I predicted it. I think they will. But if they're gonna have one hell of a route to go.
No, if whoever comes out of the NFC, my God.
Not even just the NFC. They have to juggernaut gauntlet to go against the AFC.
They've got.
You think the biggest pushover you got right now is a team you're facing, the Texans. Then who you got after that? The Bills or the Ravens?
Yeah, you've got-
and the Bills
okay.
just took a shit on Denver, and the Ravens just took a shit on Pittsburgh. You have 2 juggernauts coming out of the right side. You better know what to do, or you're fucked.
And granted, they've played both of these teams already. Okay, Buffalo, in Buffalo, that was their first loss of the year.
Buffalo kicked their ass.
Ravens, opening night, they lost by a literal toe. Like,
And that was
the
such an
Ravens lost
unlikely
by a
thing
toe.
to happen, too.
Yeah.
Unlikely.
Okay. All right, buddy. Yeah. But so yeah, they're realistically probably going to take down the Texans. They will need they will need to be on their A game if they want to take down the. Sure, the Ravens had a rough start to their. They started 0-2, and now look at them. Like they're.
I would like to point out something. During the week, if you go to the Hawkverse channel, our channel, you can see that I live stream Madden predictions. Madden will predict it. It's just a way for us to engage for our audience and, have some fun. Madden predicted the AFC 98% right. The only match it got wrong was it thought the Broncos were going to upset. It had the Broncos going on the most miraculous run ever.
Well, in all fairness, somehow the Broncos scored first that game.
Dude, it had the Broncos upsetting the Bills, Chiefs, and losing to the Ravens in the title game.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Madden was on crack because I don't know.
That would have been. I was like absolute cinema. The Bronco fan in my chat was losing his mind the entire time, and the Chief fans were being absolutely horrendously
Dude,
offended.
if the Broncos had upset the Bills, I would have been like, this team's winning the Super Bowl. Like,
What's even crazier? It got the NFC 100% correct. It did predict.
What did it have for Vikings Rams tonight? Because I
It
know
had
that's
the Vikings winning a thriller double overtime game. Basically, what happened? It went into overtime, 24-24.
Okay.
Rams drove down the field. They got a field goal. I think that's what happened. And it was 27-24. Vikings go straight down the field, kick a field goal. 27-27. Rams go right down the field and throw a pick. Vikings go all the way down the field and throw a touchdown to win it in overtime. It was an insane game, and so it has the Vikings facing off against the Eagles and the Commanders facing off against the Lions. Now, here's where things get very interesting for the NFC. It had the Vikings taking down the Eagles, and it had the Commanders taking down the Lions in a shootout.
I could actually see that happening.
And then it had the Commanders taking down the Vikings, and then the Commanders took down the Ravens in the Super Bowl. If Madden continues to be right with the NFC, I might have unleashed some voodoo magic across the world. Because it's almost remarkable that it gets 3 matches correct. But if it gets 5, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
And they were all similar in score and fashion, except for the Bills one. But yeah, we will be after I get my homework and stuff done, we will be doing more Madden streams this week. So hopefully we can see if they predict it right again.
Yeah.
I would like to move on to the next game if you're willing, or do you want to continue talking about that one?
We're on to Steelers Ravens.
Oh,
right?
this is why I've been waiting.
Let's move on to that one.
So, everybody, I have a question for you. What do you get when you have a team that gives up during halftime? You get the Steelers of 2024, right? Now, what happens when your Bible verse quarterback decides to preach the gospel instead of hyping up his football team? You get the Steelers! Yay, you were right! What happens?
This is no hate to anyone who's religious, by the way.
Hate. Yeah. I'm religious.
We're both religious.
I'm guessing on Russell Wilson being a corny dad. This team, I'm not even a Steelers fan, and I'm pissed with what I saw. How are you going to make the playoffs and be so upset that you made it? They looked like they didn't want to be there. They packed their vacation weeks ago. They did not want to be there. They were ready for vacation. They knew they were going to lose. They didn't even try. Yeah, Derrick Henry dragged his balls all over the field and all over the team.
They didn't want to play the Ravens.
Mika Fitzpatrick was turned, I can't say that on air, shit. He was turned into his personal servant. Let's put it that way. It's I don't understand. You're in the playoffs. Everything is reset. Why do you feel like you're going to lose? Even if you did, why do you feel like you're going to lose?
Like, in the play, okay.
Such a terribly coached team. No discipline, no morale, there's nothing. Nothing.
I think, I will say, this shows us why, in my personal opinion, the NFL playoffs are the best, because it's a one and done situation. If you are not motivated to play, you are not going to win. You are going to lose your season. If you're not motivated to play, you don't deserve to be there in the first place.
In the words of the Vikings head coach, they are who we thought they were.
Exactly.
Piss poor offense and a mediocre, overpriced defense. The most expensive defense in the NFL, mind you.
Here's a question. How does Mike Tomlin still have a job?
I don't either. And a lot of people in the media are defending him. Here is the hard truth, and this may get me shit for saying, as it's very controversial, but this is the damn truth. If the Steelers, they're trapped. If you move off Mike Tomlin, you're going to be called a racist organization. It's just the truth. Look at what happened in the Raiders facility. You're going to get called racist for moving off of him.
Patriots got some hate for it, too.
Yes. And it's nothing against people who believe in certain things. It's nothing against that. It's just...
If you suck at coaching, you should not have a job.
I wanted Carroll out. I want everyone out. Everyone get the hell out. But, it's time for something that could change. Tomlin should have been fired after the 2018 loss. He should have been fired.
That was against the Browns, right?
2018 was against the Jags, where they blew it in the divisional round.
Oh.
He deserved to be fired after that game. He deserved to be fired in 2020 when he started 11-0 and blew it against the Browns in the playoffs. He deserved to be fired in 2021 when the Steelers kicked his ass. He deserved to be fired in 2022 when the Bills kicked his ass. He deserved to be fired in 2023 when someone else kicked his ass. He deserves to be fired now after Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry kicked his ass. It's no hate against him. He was a great coach. It's time to move on. That era needs to end. Yeah, I'm not a Steelers fan. I'm more pissed at the Steelers than I am at the Seahawks at this point.
He's won a Super Bowl. He's had granted those first 10 years with Steelers had him as head coach. Phenomenal. They were like an actual threat. But now they haven't won a playoff game in 6 trips there.
It is time to move on.
You got to move on.
It is time to move on. And it's a shame to say that, but it's just time. At this point, when you can't do anything, sure, winning seasons are great. It's what you do in the postseason that matters.
And if you keep making it to the wild card round consistently every year, and you keep giving up in the wild card round, why are you... Coaches like that just... Yeah, it's time to move on from him.
It's just ridiculous, bro. I'm not even a Steelers fan, and this team, I'm just tired of seeing them take a spot with someone who deserves it. The Bengals would have put up more of a fight. Hell, the Bengals might have won the way the Ravens were playing that night.
If the Bengals had made it, I believe that they surely would have won.
The way they were playing, yeah. The Bengals would have won. Then again, the Ravens probably were like, yeah, we don't really need to try that hard.
The Ravens definitely weren't trying.
Yeah, they probably weren't trying that hard. It's just unfortunate that you take a spot from a team that would have played a lot better. And sure, you can make the argument you shouldn't have started 4-8. I guess that's true. But at least when you're playing a game of football in the NFL, you're a professional. Do your job.
Right.
At least try to do your job. Put in the effort, put in the work. You're getting paid millions of dollars to just play football. Like come on. I know your quarterback situation isn't the best. Play better. Let's move on to the Broncos and Bills. It's going to be probably a quick one because there ain't much to say here.
Yeah, there's
Bo Nix. Give us a round of applause.
He did great. Phenomenal.
It's been a phenomenal season.
Yeah. I think that game went about as expected.
It went as expected, but when the Broncos hit the first touchdown, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, no, the Broncos got on the board first. It was like, what, a 44-yard touchdown pass?
Shit.
We're like, we might be in for a treat here. And it was close.
And then the Bills decided to just manhandle them the rest of the game.
It was close for the first half. It was like 10-7 at halftime.
Yeah, it was halftime,
and then,
10-7.
The Bills in the second half said, we're done playing games.
Yeah, we're not having a repeat of last year.
Yeah, we're done playing games. Here's 21 more unanswered points.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal season for the Broncos, and I'm impressed with Sean Payton's coaching.
Yeah. And they have a bright future ahead of them.
Yeah, to turn around a team that was horrendous the past years, a team that stank of Russell Wilson, it's incredible.
A team that was projected like 3-4 wins this year, and you get them into
postseason.
You get them into a wild card round of the playoffs. That's phenomenal.
I'm very impressed with Sean Payton. That was incredible, and it's going to be a great season for the Broncos next year. I think the Chiefs are going to have some problems in the AFC West.
I think I don't feel confident enough to say they're going to win the AFC West over the Chiefs.
I feel the Chargers win the West next year.
Oh.
Chiefs go 10-7, make the playoffs, and the Broncos go 12-5.
Ooh.
I think Chargers win the division 12-5.
Okay.
I'm confident in that, especially if KC loses the playoffs. I think it's going to be bad. Because guess what? The offensive linemen in the KC are leaving for other people, which is rare. Here's Joe Thuney is leaving.
Here's what I think is going to happen. Chiefs lose in the playoff. I think they're kind of screwed either way with their situation. Mm-hmm. Okay, they lose in the playoffs. They lose players to free agency. They're going to go sign elsewhere. Or they do the historical thing, win 3 Super Bowls in a row, and then all their best players are going to retire because they just made history. They went out in the best way possible, and then they're...
I think either way, this is Kelsey's last season. And I think he can say what he wants on New Heights. I think this is it. The dude is what, 33?
He's
34?
Like 30. He's mid-30s.
He's got 4 Super Bowl rings, I think. No, 3 Super Bowl
He's got
rings.
3. He very well could have 4. Let's be honest. He very well could have 4.
I think it's over.
If he gets the 4th, there's 3 in a row. That's history in and of itself. If I'm on that team, I'm like, this career is not getting any better. Let's retire while we're here.
You could stay with Mahomes, try to get to 7. The way things are going, if Mahomes wins the Super Bowl this year, you gotta call him the greatest quarterback. And I hate saying that as someone who doesn't like the guy. When you look at Brady's first 10 seasons, I want to read off and make a comparison. Brady, in his first 6 years, he was selected for the Pro Bowl, winning the MVP award, and led the Patriots to 3 Super Bowl appearances and 2 wins.
That's pretty decent.
Then you look at Peyton Manning. In his first 6 seasons, he won the Super Bowl MVP, won the MVP award, and led the Colts to the playoffs in multiple seasons. Josh Allen has been no MVP. I don't think he's won any award, really, except OPOY and Rookie of the Year.
I think he has a very good chance of getting it this year, but if he does get it, they're just robbing Lamar Jackson of another one.
Patrick Mahomes is the MVP. Oh, no. I was wrong. Hold on. I meant to say Josh Allen's the MVP.
Okay.
I'm looking at Mahomes' stats. Mahomes has 2 MVPs, a Super Bowl MVP, multiple, 3, and Pro Bowl selections. He's done better than Brady in his first 2 seasons. It's been an incredible run.
I think part
for
of
Mahomes.
that is, I mean, same for Brady, but part of that is like the weapons that they have behind them. Fantastic wide receiver core. Like defense is just seemingly cannot be stopped. And then you got a tight end who doubles as a wide. Actually, I guess tight ends do that. You got a tight end who is one of the highest receiving leaders on the team. Both Brady and Mahomes, they're having very similar careers. I see your mouth is open. What's
Something
up?
just happened to Caitlin Clark, and it's so bad I can't say it on the air.
Oh, I saw about that
Holy
earlier.
shit.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's nothing. If anyone's curious, it's nothing regarding her physically. It is something that happened
This is
when
the
she
finger of the defensive lineman for the Commanders last night. You want to explain to them what that is?
Yeah, that is a dislocated finger,
Separated in 2.
separated in 2. Wait, which one was that? Oh, is that the one that left holding his hand like this?
That's Darren Payne.
Yep. Dude, the announcers made such a terrible joke.
That's disgusting.
The announcers made such a terrible joke when he went down. They said, "Payne, he appears to be in some," and I was like,
I wonder.
Like, I love unhinged announcers, but come on. Like, that was just...
Gosh. Let's move on to the next game.
So
real
anyway,
quick.
yeah.
The next game is Packers.
The snooze fest that was Packers at Eagles.
Honestly, let me say this. First half, of the way the Eagles played, they're getting smoked next week. They are getting freaking smoked. And I mean this in every way. With that much talent, Saquon Barkley got 100 yards.
No.
They're getting smoked. And Hurts did not look good. I don't care what any Eagles fans say to me. What y'all got is your opinion. You play someone like the Rams or the Vikings that way, which you're going to have to. You are not winning that game. The Rams will kill you. So will the Vikings. The Vikings will eat your heart alive.
Regardless of which team moves on, the Eagles are not surviving the next round.
I don't think the Eagles win. If they play like they did this week, they're cooked.
Yeah.
Like, even if you do win, you got the Commanders or the Lions waiting for you on the other side of the bracket. You cannot play that way. You have got to win that game. And there seemed like to be a hell of an undisciplined aura around them. On the sideline, A.J. Brown reading a book on the sideline. Get your eyes on the field. That team is going to lose in the first round or the second round if they don't change something. Like, they have got to get their shit together discipline-wise. An undisciplined team will never, ever win championships.
Look what happened in 2022.
Exactly.
That may have been back to the 2022 Super Bowl. I guess it was in 2023 calendar year, but still, penalties, because they were an undisciplined team, cost them the game. And I'm not going to argue that they weren't penalties, because they absolutely were. They cost them the game.
It's just crazy to me to think about, bro. Like, you have so much talent on that team, and that coach is a fucking hack. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's in over his head. That team's not good. Not good with
He
him.
was laughing at his own fans after he beat
He fought a Lions fan.
He did?
Yeah, last year it came out he had a fight with a fan. It might not have been Lions, but he fought someone this year. Not last year. He fought someone this year.
I don't know. He was pissed at his own fans.
That's what it was. He had a fight with a Commanders fan. The security guard had to hold him back.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Bro, you're a coach. What example are you setting to your team?
Philly fan. I think he's getting the aura from the Philly fans.
Coleman,
because-
if your professor threw hands with another classmate, what are you doing?
filming.
You know what I mean? Like, doesn't that kind of make like the classroom be like, oh, so it's okay to throw hands?
Yeah,
with
that
people
would be
in
like,
here?
oh, so then this is okay.
It's okay to throw hands. Like, I just got the image of a professor throwing hands. Okay, that team's not going far the way they're going. Another team that I don't think is going to go far if they play the way they do is the Packers.
Well, they didn't.
I know
go
they
far.
were eliminated, but like I'm saying next year.
Oh yeah.
That was That was the worst undisciplined team ever. The Eagles were horrible. The Packers were worse.
Okay, I'm sorry. That game was over on the first play.
Dude,
like, you
how
saw
do you
that,
drop
right?
that kickoff? I watched it. Oh.
Dude, I was sitting there. I'm watching that with my girlfriend's. Like, I'm watching that with my girlfriend's dad, and he's just staring at the screen like, what the fuck just happened?
I was watching it like I was at work. I was watching it a little, on the side, and I'm pushing the car around, and I'm like, all right, here we go, kickoff. I just go, ooh, nice run. Did he just drop that ball?
Dude, I couldn't even like tell what happened. Okay, because I'm playing on my phone with just the game in the background. I'm like, okay, Packers get the ball first, cool. And then I hear a bunch of whistles, and then see Eagles fans pointing towards their end zone, and I was like, there's no way.
No fucking
There's no way.
Yeah, plus the fight, the discipline needs to be better. Did you see them pushing down Saquon Barkley in the middle of the field?
Dude, Saquon Barkley did his team a favor by sliding down at the end of the game,
They were still pushing him
not
down.
risking injury, and they were mad at him for doing that.
No, not the Eagles. The Packers were pushing him down. They
Oh,
pushed
the
him down to the
Packers
players. They were throwing punches, throwing hands. It was undisciplined. It was awful. The Packers have got to be better. I know they're young. They're stupid. They're not that much older than us. Let's be real.
No, they're the youngest team in the league.
Yeah, they
I'm
gotta
pretty
be. They gotta get their shit together. Let's go to the one everyone was waiting for, and it certainly delivered.
This
last
one
night.
delivered.
The Commanders shock everyone and take down the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 23-20 in a thriller. That was finally the first good game of Wild Card Weekend and the first road team to win an NFL playoff game this season, and the first Commanders team or Skins team to win since the 90s. Or no, not the 90s.
Since
2005.
2006.
2005.
2005 season, 2006
First Skins
calendar.
team since 2005 to win a playoff game. Man, Jaden Daniels looked incredible.
Here's something that I find crazy about that situation. They win their first playoff game in 19 years against the same team in the same field. Or against the same team in the same stadium.
What's even more funny, the last time the Commanders went on a deep playoff run, they beat the Lions in the NFC title game.
Well, it's not going to be the title game this time around, but
it'll be a revenge game for Detroit with everything on the line for both sides.
I think this is an extremely hot take. I think the Lions have a real chance of losing that game.
I was the first to send that to you, I think.
Yeah, you were.
I believe this is going to be a tight one. And I really feel this has the makings of the 2012 Seahawks.
Yeah.
Remember when we nearly took down the Falcons? This team reminds me a lot of the 2012 Seahawks. A lot. It really does. Like, they're one piece away from making the Super Bowl. Like, they seem really good. Really good.
Speaking of the 2012 Seahawks, Jaden Daniels has joined some pretty elite company with that game last night, becoming the fourth rookie quarterback to ever win a playoff game on the road,
including
joining
Wilson.
Joe Flacco, Mark Sanchez, and Russell Wilson.
It was just, I'm so impressed with this rookie. The way he has been playing all season with the poise and confidence of a veteran quarterback. Bro, what's even more remarkable, it's like the announcer said, the dude is the best when he's playing against somebody in a clutch situation. He's down by 2 minutes, he's winning the game.
He stepped on that football field week 1. Is like he's been doing it for 10 years already. He clicked immediately.
Literally, Daniels is the best in the clutch. The best. He's like Mahomes in the clutch. He's so good.
Yeah. Yes, he lost in week 1 to the Buccaneers. But he went out there and played like he had been playing for 5, 10, maybe even 15 years.
Dude.
Like you would not know he was a rookie if you weren't told that he was a rookie. You're like, yeah, this kid's not a rookie.
The Eagles are going to have a lot of problems if they don't win the Super Bowl this year.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have a lot of problems. This is probably your last shot to win the Super Bowl with the strength of that schedule. Have you seen the Eagles' schedule? I want to read this
Oh my
off.
god.
I
Have you
wanna
seen
read
the
this off to
Have you seen the
everyone.
Giants?
It's even worse.
The Giants
They're
is
gonna
even
die.
worse.
It's fine. The Eagles' opponents for the 2025 season is, of course, the NFC East. They will face the AFC West and the NFC North and the first playoff teams from the AFC East, NFC West, and NFC South. That means they will face Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, Raiders. They will face the entirety of the NFC North. Vikings, Lions,
Packers, Bears.
Yes. Oh my. And you'll play the Bills, the Rams, and the Buccaneers. All.
Yeah.
Over.
I've been saying this all year as well. A healthy Buccaneers team is one of the scariest things that you can run
And they're
into
traveling
this season.
Like at home, they got the Cowboys, Giants, Commanders, Lions, Bears, Rams, Broncos, and Raiders. And away, they got the Cowboys, Giants, Commanders, Packers, Vikings, Bucks, Chiefs, Chargers, and Bills.
So they got their harder games on the road, arguably.
Bro, they could go 8-9. This is their last chance. Realistically, this is their last chance where they got. Because keep in mind, that division is not going to be a pushover for much longer.
No.
Well, the Cowboys will be, but regardless, the Giants probably will be too for another year, and then they're going to get the shit together.
I think with the way that the Commanders are playing, they got a real shot of stealing.
The Commanders are winning the division next year.
They got a real shot at winning that division next year. And they're not going to go 7-9 and win that division. They're going to go like.
They're going to win it.
They're going to go like 13-4.
I think the Commanders are real Super Bowl contenders this year and next year. The Commanders look really good. Jaden Daniels looks really good. Everybody's looking really good. And it's
for a team that got 4 wins last year.
It's incredible for a team to have such a turnaround, man. It's incredible. It really is. And
it just goes to show what good ownership and a good coach can do to a.
And another thing, which I'm gonna reinstate here again, it shows what good offensive line can do for a football team. Mm-hmm. It shows you. I think my message is still out there, but it shows you what an offensive line can do. And what a quarterback can do when he has good offensive line. If we would have got Jaden Daniels, he would not be this good.
No,
he would not be this good. He would have got his leg broke like Joe Burrow. It's not good. It's really sad when you see another team having a good success with a rookie quarterback and you want that, but you don't have an offensive line to fix that. Let's go to the final wildcard game, which happens in 2 hours from now, which is going
about 2.5, but yeah.
About 2.5, but yeah, it should be a fun one. You got the Minnesota Vikings, who are 14-3, taking on the Los Angeles Rams, who are 10-7, and injured to hell and back. You got one team that just got exposed and embarrassed on national TV, and you got the Rams, who are frauds. I'm praying on your downfall.
I personally like to call them the Lambs because
I'm praying on their downfall. I'm praying on their downfall. You had to win 4 tiebreakers in order to beat us.
Granted,
don't lose to the Giants.
We have ourselves to blame for that. We can't say don't lose to the Giants at home. You win that game. Every other game goes the exact same way, and you win the division. Like what?
Anyway, the Rams.
I told you after that game that game was going to come back to haunt us.
Yep.
And it did.
The Rams are coming off of a relatively lackluster performance on offense for their starters, not their backups. Backups did better than their starters. You got scoring 6 points, 12. They're not scoring a lot of points. And then you go look at the Vikings, who threw up 24 on the Seahawks, threw up 9 on the Lions. That's not a lot.
Pretty sure the Rams ended their season with a negative point differential.
Oh, they did.
I'm just going to double check.
The Vikings are coming into Arizona basically now because of the wildfires, and they're going to smack them.
Okay, yeah. The Los Angeles Rams this year, points for, 367. Points allowed, 386. With a point differential of minus 19.
That's wild.
It's because they got blown out by both the Commanders and the Cardinals.
I'm telling you, the Rams are about to get smacked tonight. They're going to get smacked.
I don't believe it's going to be close.
I think they're going to get smacked.
Look.
And I say that with how bad the offense is. And Matthew Stafford looks like it's over. Mm-hmm. He needs to retire.
Yes, I will touch on this. The Vikings lost to the Rams earlier this year.
Big mask.
I think the argument can also be made. The Buccaneers beat the Commanders this year. The Commanders were hungry for revenge in the playoffs. I don't want to say they wiped the floor with them. It was a pretty evenly matched game. They ended up beating them. I think the Vikings are going to do the same thing. They're going to be hungry. They're going to be they're going to be thirsting for revenge. The game isn't even in Los Angeles anymore. It's in Arizona.
It's even if they were in LA, this is gonna be a blowout, and it's gonna be really bad, a really bad blowout. Now, knowing our luck, the Rams win tonight in a shootout. This is gonna be a bad game for the Rams. I'm sorry. I don't care what anyone says. This is a really bad matchup for them. I don't understand the audacity to rest your starters in the final game. It's a bad matchup for the Rams, especially considering how bad the defense is how bad the defense has been for LA the past few weeks, how good the offense has been for the Vikings, and how really Brian Flores, oh my God, how good the defense has been. This is the worst matchup for them. If I'm the Rams, I would have rather seen the Commanders. This is a horrible matchup for them, and the Vikings are going to stomp them like 34-8. It's going to be really bad.
I know the Rams definitely have the motivation of what's happening in LA right now. They're going to want to win. They're going to want to be do it for LA, which, again, granted, terrible that all this stuff is happening. My hearts go out to anyone involved.
Yeah, same. But
this is not the matchup that they
won.
can win to.
They
cannot win this they're not going to.
This was not the team you wanted to see if you were LA. This was not the team. Even if it was the Lions, I'd still say the same thing. This was not the team you want to see. And I don't understand people who seriously think the Rams are going to win this game.
After the Vikings lost to the Rams, they went on a tear. They won 9 games in a row before finally falling to the Lions in Week 18.
I just don't understand how you look at these two teams, look at how they've been playing recently, and you confidently say the Rams get the win. This is all the makings of a blowout.
I'm going to be completely honest. I can 100% see this game going either way. If the Rams win, it's going to be close. If the Vikings win, it's going to be a blowout.
I don't even see a possibility the Rams win. I really don't. And if I'm wrong, I'll come back in here next Monday and I'll say I was wrong. I'll put my chest out. I'll say I was wrong, and the Rams, likelihood, they win against the Eagles, like I said.
If the Rams move on, they're 100% beating the Eagles. With how the Eagles played last week.
Talking about one hell of an NFC title game storyline if the Lions pull out that victory into home.
Lions, Rams, NFC title.
That's one hell of a storyline. And that is such a winnable game for the Lions.
They beat him earlier this year. They beat him in the playoffs last year.
That's such a winnable game. I'll put my chest out and I'll say I was wrong if the Rams win. And at that point, they would have won 2 playoff games or won one and got smoked by the Eagles. Who knows? I'm hoping they die in both games. But in the same time, this is the bad matchup, and it's a really bad one. Let's talk about the divisional round matchups. The first game of the divisional round, we got Texans at Chiefs, and we touched on it earlier. This is the potential to be a big upset. And I seriously believe C.J. Stroud is going to win this game.
Here's the thing. We'll go over this later. The Chiefs have not scored more than 30 points in a game all season long. So the simple solution, the Texans score 31. There you go.
And the way that they've been playing, Stroud might damn well score 40. They've been playing really well. And the Chiefs, though, their defense, sure, that's good. It's just...
With all their players out, they're going to be motivated. They're going to be like, we want to win this game for the guys who aren't here to experience it.
It's just... I still think the Chiefs, you're expecting it to be a high-powered team either way. If it would have been the Chargers, I would have been scared for the Chiefs. You got to pull your shit together on offense in order to win this game. And sure, it's the Chiefs. I feel like this is the game they will lose, but I would not be shocked if the Chiefs win this game, pull a magic out of their ass and do it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even want to talk about it. They've had so many bullshit ways that they've won games this year.
The witchery, as I said earlier, the witchery coming out of Kansas City, I blame the Swifties for. So, yeah.
They just keep finding ways to win, and it's
bullshit.
The most bullshit way. We'll compare the Chiefs to...
I'm going to send a priest to Kansas City.
We'll compare the Chiefs to the Lions later, by the way, after we talk about our divisional round.
Bro, I'm going to send a priest to the Arrowhead on the day of their game against the Chiefs. Just hire a priest in Kansas City.
I want to be there when that happens. Anyways, Commanders at Lions.
Holy shit, I got the day off for this game. I unintentionally did. I got it off for my aunt's cousin's birthday party. Little bro, I'm sorry. I need to watch this game.
I could I could see the Commanders walking out with a win. I really like the Lions. I think that if they're going to win the Super Bowl, it's now or never.
Lions?
Their defense is so banged up, and just there's so many guys out on that team. I genuinely think that the Commanders can pull that one through. And it's going to be an offensive shootout. It's going to be like final score like 38-35, something like that.
Here's what I'll say about the now or never. I think the way your division is, the way the teams have progressed, I think this is your last shot.
It's absolutely now or never.
I think this is your last shot for a few years. You got the Vikings, who just won 14 games. You got the Packers, who are likely going to improve in the draft. You got the Bears, who look like they're going to be a problem next year, potentially, if they don't fuck up again.
If they get the right coach, they're going to be a threat.
They get Ben. It looks like they're going to hire Ben Johnson, which will be an absolutely interesting game. Ben Johnson against the Lions. I just feel like this is your last shot. It really is. Also, Aiden Hutchinson is rumored to be coming back for the divisional round.
I thought it was the AFC or the NFC Championship.
Apparently, it's going sooner than expected. If you get Hutchinson
here's
back,
what I want to say about this.
I wouldn't rush him. Also,
I don't want to rush him.
Because I would hate for him to get back out there and he fractures his foot again. I shouldn't laugh at that, but that's just the most Lion thing ever.
I think that the right call is resting him until he's like 110% ready to go.
Yeah, it's just, man.
And if that means him missing the divisional, missing the NFC Championship, heck, even missing the Super Bowl, like that man, he deserves to play when he's healthy.
Yeah, 100%.
As does everybody.
I agree with the now or never sentiment. It's just, this feels like the last chance.
Mm-hmm.
Your chance, your blank year was last year. You have a chance this year to do the one thing you fought hard for. If you make the Super Bowl and lose, I'd still call it a failure.
Yeah.
And I say it's a failure because you've hyped up your team. You won 15 games. Your offense is the most powerful offense in the league. I don't see another shot. I really don't. You got the Vikings, who are playing really well. They're going to be better next year. You got the Packers, the Bears. I don't see them having another shot. The entire NFC is going to be a bloodbath next year, more than this year. And this year, it killed everyone. This is the last chance. There is no more second chances. There's no third chance. You have your second chance. You blow it here, it's finished. If you lose in the Super Bowl, it's a failure. You have got to win now, and now, right now. If you lose to someone like the Ravens, Bills, or Chiefs in the Super Bowl, it's done. It's not happening again for a while. Next year is probably going to be the Vikings' turn. I don't see the Lions returning to the Super Bowl for another 4 or 5 years at the rate it's going.
I don't see them returning to maybe even the playoffs for a couple years.
Yeah, because of how packed the NFC is. Seattle's going to be better next year. The Niners are certainly going to be back. The Rams are going to be as dangerous as always, and the Cardinals look really good at the end of the season, except for the game where they made me want to cry. Everybody looks seriously goated. The Cowboys, they won't be as good, but they will certainly put up a fight.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be one hell of a bloodbath if you're the Lions, and this is your last chance. Your last chance. Let's talk about Vikings, Rams, Eagles.
The Eagles are losing that game.
Eagles are losing.
I don't give a shit. Regardless of opponent, they are losing that game.
The Eagles are losing that game. But how they played, I don't give a shit. It was like 10-3 until the fourth quarter. You're not winning that game. I don't give two fucks.
Ravens and Bills.
Bro, it was 10-3. And
it was 10-0 at halftime, actually, but still.
It was 10-3 until at the start of the fourth quarter, I think.
It was at the start of the fourth quarter.
Bro, you're not winning that game. You are not winning that game with how shitty your team has been in the playoffs so far. If they win, it'll shock me. Like, honestly.
If the Eagles pull that game out of their ass, then as you've said before, they'll have either Detroit or Washington.
And they're not winning that one.
They're not going to win that one either.
You look at both teams. The Commanders have always had the Eagles' number. Always. Take a look at the couple weeks ago, even if they didn't have Jalen Hurts. They've always had their number. Even back in 2022 without Jaden Daniels. Always had their number. you look at a team like the Lions. The Lions are another matchup. Honestly, that matchup, Lions, it's not a good one for them. Eagles, no defense. Saquon Barkley comes in there, he's gonna tear shit up. It's not a good matchup. If I'm the Lions, I'm rooting hard for the Vikings or the Rams, because that's a bad matchup.
Yeah,
that's
I agree.
a really bad matchup for you. That's a physical team too. They will knock some of your stars out of the game. It's bad. A bad matchup.
All right, so our last one is going to be Ravens at Bills. This. God, we got so many good matchups this year.
Two juggernauts.
Two juggernauts. Yes, the Ravens wiped the floor with the Bills earlier this year.
Yeah, but
it was 35-10. That game was in Baltimore. This game is going to be in Buffalo in like 25-degree weather. The Bills have only gotten better since that game. I don't see the Ravens pulling this one out.
This might surprise you, because I have hyped up the Bills all season. I've hyped them up all season. I think Lamar Jackson.
This stupid chair.
I have the Ravens throttling the Bills moving on. And the reason I say that is, while the Ravens didn't look great on Saturday, the Bills kept it way too uncomfortably close for a portion of that game. I don't know what it is, but a lot of these playoff teams, they don't play very well in the first half. And if you're not a first half team, you're not a second half team typically.
You can't play bad for one half in the playoffs. You have to be playing good the entire game.
It is a 60-minute game for a reason. And if you play for only 30 minutes, you likely will not win that game. It's just how it works. You look at like a team at the Seahawks, history-wise. Go back to the 2019 divisional round. You play very bad in the second half. They outscore you. It's like 28-10 in the third quarter. It's not good. You have to play good football in the first half or you're going to lose. Yesterday was a good example of that. Bucks, Commanders played very well in the first half, and they got even better in the second. It's exactly paper football.
That game, no team led by more than 7 points that entire game. That is exactly how a good playoff game should be played.
And both teams make adjustments. They both play really well. That's how it goes. It's a 60-minute football game. It's not a 30-minute.
Exactly.
And you have to do that. You have to play all the game. I know there's rust, especially for these number one seeds coming up, especially Kansas City. Holy shit.
Dude, they're starters that won't have played for
Mahomes
a while.
hasn't touched a football in a month. Bro, he's been watching State Farm all
I think it's going to be... Actually, yeah, that's why a good reason why the Texans could upset is because they've been playing their starters all season.
Has no one learned? I found a staggering report, right?
Mm-hmm.
Teams that rest their starters in the first round or rest their starters before the playoffs start have made the Super Bowl a staggering 18% of the time.
Oh.
A team that has not rested their starters, and this is the number one seed, made the Super Bowl a staggering 85% time.
Ooh.
It is
history's not in Kansas City's favor.
It's controversial to rest your starters. And I understand it. You have earned that privilege. But at the same time, it is your team has played all season. There's a reason they're playing good. They got good chemistry. It is a better idea to hang in there than not.
There's a reason why taking time off from a sport for so long. Like, we'll use baseball for example. Like the first baseball, for example, you're playing all season. All of a sudden, 1 to 2 weeks off when the playoffs start. That hurts you.
I think that's why. Have they gotten rid of the bye week for baseball? I can't remember.
They're not going to.
They need to. Look at 2023's playoffs.
My God,
that was horrible. I think, and also some other news came out recently you might not have heard about. The NFL is having a meeting.
I heard about this.
About to change the playoff seeding.
I heard about
how
this.
It works. And how the proposed idea would work is, basically, there would no longer be seedings based off division winners and wildcard teams. The division winners.
The NBA did this, and I hate it.
The division winners would automatically clinch a playoff spot, but the standings in the playoffs are based off record. So, a team like the Vikings would replace the Eagles as the number 2 seed in the NFC, and a team like the Packers would replace a team like the Bucks, replace a team like the Rams as the 4 seed, and a team like the Commanders would replace the.
They'd be the 3 seed at that.
Yeah, instead of the Bucks.
Commanders would be 4 seed.
3 seed because they have
whatever.
4
This would change.
I feel, and also the division winners would not get a guaranteed home playoff game. They would not.
I am going to be completely honest. I don't think that's a good idea. I think because if you are not guaranteed a home game, then yes, winning your division, guaranteed spot in the playoffs. Part of that is having a home game. And then if you don't win that home playoff game, then yeah, that sucks.
Here's why I don't like the idea. It's kind of the same sentiment as you. I think there is a lot when it comes to home playoff game. I think for the fans, I think for the players, you get the opportunity to be back home by your family in the facility in the area you've grown accustomed to. The fans get more of a chance to come see you because, say I'm a fan of the Seahawks and I live in Washington, D.C., I can't come see the Seahawks. Or I think you get what I'm trying to say. I just failed saying it.
I get that.
Basically, it's for the fans also. If you don't have home field when you win a division, what's the point in winning a division? What's the point in rivalries? What's the point in all of that? There is no point. For the NFL, winning your division is a crucial thing.
If you want a home playoff game, win your division. Vikings fans, I'm sorry that your division was just so damn good this year.
Yeah.
You did not win your division. You don't get a home playoff game.
And I think a lot of teams, owners are under the same impression because a lot of team owners have expressed they don't like the idea. It's crucial.
And I agree with them.
It's crucial to have a sentiment to go for it. Because then at that point, why are we playing for division? We're playing for a record. We're not playing for the division.
This is exactly what the NBA did however long ago. I'm not gonna take time to look it up. But the NBA, divisions don't matter. Like, seeding is based off of how well you did as in the conference overall. You can win your division, but if you didn't do, like, let's say you went like 40-42, somehow won your division, you're not guaranteed a playoff spot. If there were 8 teams, actually 10 teams, because NBA playoffs is weird. If there were enough teams that did better than you can win your division and not get in. And I think that's the most bullshit thing. Because why are there still divisions in the NBA if it doesn't even matter?
Exactly. And I think it would go into the same way for the NFL. At that point, what is the point? What is the point in winning a division if it gives you no home field advantage? Mm-hmm. And the same goes at that point, I guess. The number 1 seed, why am I caring after I punch the best record? Why would I put out my starters? Like, the Lions and the Vikings, if that rule was in place, would have 100% rested their starters after they got the 14th game.
Yeah.
Because at that point, there's no reason. That means that big matchup wouldn't have been a big matchup. None of them probably would have cared.
No, it's like, yeah, sure. You're
both getting a home playoff
We're both
game.
getting a home game, so why...
So why are we fighting each other?
Yeah.
Does it really matter? Sure, we're facing a lower seed, but they're both ass teams.
Yeah.
So at that point, there's no point. There's no competitive spirit. There's no reason. It's just... Man, I think they were trying to change too much in the NFL. I think things are the way they are for a reason. Man.
Yeah.
Things are the way they are for a reason.
There is one other controversial change that they're going to discuss. I have better thoughts about this one, though, is replacing the onside kick with a 4th and 20.
I love that idea.
I actually love that idea.
I love that idea.
I love that idea.
Onside kicks, when I see a team go for an onside kick, I know, they're not getting that.
Yeah, onside kicks in the NFL are dumbed down to the point where it's like you're not getting it.
Onside kicks are really bad.
Now, if you get it from if a 4th and 20 option and you convert that, like, that possible. Is 1, much more likely to happen. 2, if you do that, you deserve to have the ball back.
I love the idea.
I think
it would give more teams an opportunity to get in the game, and it would probably motivate it. And I think you get better ratings too.
Yeah.
If Like, can you imagine in some of these games, bro? Fuck,
Yeah.
maybe we wouldn't have lost to the Giants. Damn. Damn it. I think that's a great idea. I love the idea of that. I like the idea of going from something that's damn near impossible to getting something that's very possible. I think the UFL is changing the way sports, especially football, are going.
Yeah.
A lot of these great ideas, a lot of these great players coming from it. Everything is improving in the right direction. I am a really big fan of that. I like the kickoff format now.
I like the new kickoff too.
Everything is more exciting on the kickoff format. My dad doesn't agree. I believe it's a lot better. I just think everything is.
I can see why people might have a problem with it. Touchbacks are becoming more and more common. However, when it's not on the chance that it's not a touchback, which is still a very likely opportunity, you've got a good chance to run it like 30 yards downfield. Maybe even if you get an opening, you got a really good chance to go all the way down. It's also, yes, it's what the new kickoff is generally safer, and I like that idea because you're not.
You got a grown ass man who's 300 pounds running like 20 miles an hour down the field.
Yeah.
At you.
You don't have a chance of injuring yourself on the most important play of every
Can you
game.
imagine Cam Chancellor running 20 miles an hour at you, ready to level you?
I think I
pissed myself.
I'd pray before, like, while holding the football, and then I'd go see Jesus after, because
Just like, here, you take it. I don't want it.
I'm not making it out of there. I'm not making it out of there alive.
How to end up hospitalized.
All right, what are we at? We're at 3:13. Okay, we got about 15 minutes left. So our last topic I want to touch on is we had two teams in the NFL this year that went 15-2. Coming out of the AFC West, you had the Kansas City Chiefs. Coming out of the NFC North, you had the Detroit Lions. Both of these teams 15-2. Both of these teams, granted, very good this year, juggernauts. You can argue that you could argue that they both deserve to be 15-2. Keyword, you could argue. There may be some room for debate. Anyways, I want to look at the differences between these two teams in terms of how, like, their offensive performances. Starting with point differential. The Kansas City Chiefs point differential was 59, which is something you typically see out of a team that went like 11-6. What's up?
No, I'm just checking to make sure the recording thing's working.
Okay. Yeah. So Chiefs point differential 59. That's something you see out of a team that 10-7, maybe 11-6, at most 12-5. Lions point differential 222.
Oh!
That is certainly something you see out of a 15-2 team. Chiefs' 2 losses came by a combined 47 points. Lions' 2 losses, 10.
Oh.
Combined 10 points.
Oh. The Buccaneers should be proud of themselves that they beat the Lions, bro.
Right?
Like, they could have got a perfect season, I think. Who was their other loss? Oh, yeah, the Bills.
The Bills.
Dude. And they almost came back from that.
They really did. I think that was because the Bills had to take out their starters. But
Yeah.
total points scored: Chiefs 385, Lions 564.
Yeah, the Lions are the team that scored the most points in NFL history in a regular season.
Yep. Granted, they had an extra game to do it, but
They did it more than the Denver Broncos that we beat the shit out of in the Super Bowl.
And then Chiefs, they had a grand total of 0 games where they scored more than 30 points. They had one where they scored 30 exactly, and they almost let the Panthers have that one too. The Lions had 10 where they scored more than 30. It's just insane how these two teams have the same record, yet one is just so drastically different than the other.
Yeah. It's the Chiefs are the most fraudulent team I think I've ever seen. More than any other team. I think the Bengals would be a better 1 seed than the Chiefs. I mean, sure, defense wins games and luck is a big factor in the NFL, and so does heart. That's what makes the NFL different than any other game, like college football. Heart, luck, skill, it's all what makes these games more entertaining. but the witch shit has got to stop, bro. The Lions are a more legitimate 1 seed, and I don't understand people saying the Chiefs are the team to beat. It's like rage bait at this point.
The
Lions are the team to beat.
Okay, of the top 10 blowouts this year, I believe that the Lions have all 3.
Yeah.
They've had 52-6 over the Jaguars, 52-14 over the Titans, 47-9 over the Cowboys.
The poor Titans.
Those are the top 3 blowouts this year, and they all came at the hands of the Detroit Lions.
The Titans died that day.
I think it was that day that the Titans were like,
yeah, we're done with Will
done.
Levis.
We're done.
We're finished. It's over. It's been a wild ride for the season.
It's been a wild 8 games. Now it's
gonna be a shame when the season ends, bro. I mean, we're gonna switch to a baseball show. Like, we'll cover the off-season news if there are any, but bro, we're gonna be a baseball show.
Dude, that first day that free agency hits, it's oh my god.
Oh my god. So forget baseball. This is NFL summer episode.
Okay, with how much happened on the first day of free agency last year, I think we're in for a treat.
We're in for a treat, bro.
All right, so yeah, that is basically everything I had to touch on today.
I think that's everything we can cover today.
Yeah, that's.
So I'd like to thank everybody for sticking with us. You know, through the hiatus, we've had a long football season that we've shared with you guys on air, except for the first 2 weeks because we were gone.
Just a reminder, we are students, so we were not able to be on air during this time because
and
we were on break from school. We were enjoying our break.
Yeah, and there's other things also we had to do, like. But again, we appreciate you, everyone who listens, sticks along, makes it this far into the stream or whatever. We appreciate you guys, and
we promise that we are moving forward, going to have a more consistent schedule.
And we have some great things coming as the show grows.
Yes.
Like, we have discussed the potential jersey giveaway during Super Bowl weeks and all this kind of stuff, you know, and we're very willing to do that stuff. So again, I want to thank everybody, and we're gonna wrap up the show here. So thank you very much. You've been listening to Loot Air Student Radio, LASR Laser. You can call in at 253-535-7755. Again, that's 253-535-7755. And don't forget to visit our website at plu.edu/laser to check out a schedule where you can find out that Wait, Please Tell Me with Luke and Stella is coming up in about half an hour, or 4 o'clock. So stick around for that. It's going to be one heck of a ride, I promise. And don't forget to visit our Instagram at Laser Radio. LASR Radio, and ours, _nest_PLU, where you can find out any schedule changes, anything we didn't get to say on air that we want to say, and anything else. So again, it's been a pleasure. It's been a wild ride. We will see you next Monday, everybody. Have a good one.